Second book I mentioned was The Anatomy of Peace. It's really a more of a conflict-related book, but I think it has a lot of applications. It's a very easy read. You can do that on audiobook as well. And it was just talking about out of the box and in the box. So if you see someone that's in the box, you're not really seeing them as a person. You see them as an object, as the thing that's going wrong. You're focusing all your negativity there. Let's try to focus and see people more as human beings. Give them a little bit of grace for what they might do wrong. See it as human nature.
If all that stuff sounds interesting to you, then you're going to want to tune into today's podcast. Looking back now, with your fashion sense that you've learned from that situation, are you dressed better than those guys now who laughed at you?
Well, no. I won't ever spend my money on that. And now I'm still being me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm wearing suits that are a little loud, but that's always been the pizzazz I enjoyed. So
Sure.
I still found a way to be me, to be in their space and make it work. So it just an example of, I mean, it's easy to get rejected and say, I quit.
No, of course.
But at the same time, if I never got in that space, what opportunities I miss? A really good mentor that I would have never met. And at the other side, isn't it equally embarrassing for my sponsor who's putting his name and reputation at risk to bring me in the room? My guy kept bringing me to more because he wanted it to work.
Yeah.
He knew what I could do.
Yeah.
That's why he was bringing me to the doctor. She was already one of my clients. But getting the other people to see that is a struggle. And it comes back to these classes. When you're in that space, and I guess this is one of those things for the hustle out there that's trying to get ahead. I want you to realize that, like when I got laughed at, they weren't saying I sucked at taxes.
Sure.
At my craft that I'm so good at. And honestly, it's their bad. Because I couldn't present to them in a way that would make us connect. They didn't hear my message, and I actually could have helped them, and I didn't get to.
Sure.
And that happens with a lot of cases. But if you want to get ahead and you want to get in those circles and you want to close those leads, allow some space to say, is there some things I need to change about how I present? Can I look at this rich person and say, what makes them comfortable? How do they communicate? How do they dress? How do they talk? What's the topic of conversation that they're having? Can I present in a way that shows them that I care about what's important to them?
Yes.
So that they'll allow me to show them why I'm good at what I do.
Sure.
I don't think that is selling yourself out.
No.
So much as it is doing a little bit of homework on the client you want to close.
No, 100%. Let me ask you this. So your sponsor, who was already in this circle, these rooms, how was your guys' introduction made? And how did he not just count you out?
Do the same. So, funny timing. At the accounting firm where I got all my experience, he came on as a new client. But when you come on as a new client and they don't see the clout that you have, they're coming to an established CPA firm that's been around for 20, 25 years.
Sure.
They want like a big name place, and it was that. And they have awesome planning. But when they come on board, you don't get to say, I want the best CPA that you have here, because those already have their client base and their whales or whatever. And so it's like, who's going to get this guy? And if he comes in pompous like, oh, I'm the man, you're like, I don't know if I really want him. So what do? They give him to one of the newer team members that has a couple years there. Do I have the ability to do it? Do I have a senior or somebody that can help coach me if I needed to take care of this person? I do. But some of them, if they come in with a bad attitude, my boss's concept was, if you, Mr. I've been here 2 years, can close and keep him, he's your client base, and you're showing the firm that you can retain difficult clients. If he leaves, I don't care. Because with the personality he had, I wasn't going to spend my personal time on him.
Sure.
And so there was a lot of people that came on board that it was just for me to proof myself. Can I do this? He came on board like that, and that's how he got connected to me. But I hustled.
Yeah.
And something in the way that me just being honest, he didn't judge me like the doctors did on the immediate thing. He gave me a chance to show him.
Sure.
And I produced.
Yeah.
And then after that, he didn't care.
Yeah,
and then after that, he was like, hey, probably he came from a similar upbringing and he saw something of me and him. And he said, I'm going to bring you to the other circles and I'll help you get to where I have, or
Sure.
I'll bring you to that. But the original connection was just on me doing his work. And I honestly got that opportunity just based in the fact that at our firm, he was new.
Right.
And they throw those down until somebody else figures it out.
Yeah. Either he was trying to help someone out who he saw had the same path, or you were bringing really good value, and that was just him doing his doctor clientele a favor by, hey, you need to meet this guy.
I want to hope it's a little of both.
I think it is.
Yeah. But the space is tough. So it is in trying to climb the ladder and wanting to be successful. I think it's really important to consider that. Look at the person. Am I approaching them right? And let's close it that way. I don't know. I don't know if you've been in any of those type of situations. I know we brought up a couple items before, like, hey, have you been in a room where you felt awkward because you were there?
All the time.
Give me one.
All the time. Well, I don't like nonsense talk. Like, I'm honestly so curious about just people,
Yeah.
and I want to have like some sort of conversation to get to learn about these people.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, just the other day, I was showing a listing I have coming live here shortly to a cash investor who flips properties, and he had brought his partner, who is the contractor designer firm that renovates the properties. And I had seen some of their past work, and I love house interior design. It's just so amazing to me. And some of their projects have been really beautiful. So I had asked the person, I was like, "Oh, are you the designer?" And she's like, well,
Yeah.
we do design, build, blah, 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 all the things. I'm like, I know, but are you the designer?
Did you feel like she was offended at the title you were giving her, or that she didn't want to have the conversation with you?
I don't know exactly, because
Definitely sounds awkward.
she was foreign.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a language barrier,
Man.
or if maybe I just
That's
didn't
complicated.
set it up. I probably could have set it up better. Now that I'm thinking about it right now, I could have been like, "Hey, I saw the last house you guys did. I really loved this about that. Are you the designer?" Maybe I should have brought it off that way and just being like, "So, are you the designer?" Maybe she did feel offended because she was the owner. But
don't know.
Owners can be designers as well of the firm. And the point I was getting to is I really wanted to know the color of the wall.
You're like, dude, just tell me
I
about it.
really liked the color, but she wasn't opening up about it.
Did you get the color of the wall?
No,
Or did
no.
Was that so awkward? You're like, I don't want to have this
And
conversation.
they're not buying the house either. That's all right, because the verbal offer was way too low for my clients.
Maybe they were giving you cues already. You don't want to work with them. I will say in this space, it's not like every client you want to work with. There's a choice of who fits and who doesn't.
No, there isn't. But at some point, you have to work with people you don't want to work with.
I like your curiosity about it, though. A lot of times, what drove me to be in those circles, it wasn't that I mean, if someone's laughing at me, do I really care to really take care of that guy? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But I was curious of how that circle worked.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know how it worked. What's their lifestyle like? What do they like? What don't they like? I mean, at some point, I would hope to get to that social level. I want to be in that lifestyle, but maybe still living like with all my old friends from back in the day.
So would you say, now that you've met these people, done work for these people, you've seen how it goes, would you say they're just normal people? Because that's what everyone says. Everyone's just the same.
They are.
They're just normal people.
They are.
So they're really good at putting up a facade in this space that they're trying to protect the status level that they think they've achieved. Is that what it is?
The real people that have it, they're not really protecting you. They just want to be comfortable at their norms for what's there. The ones that are really putting on too much of a show to protect it typically don't have the money. They're just trying to show off because they're scared. They're not actually in the club.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. I mean, we're in Vegas. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I continue thinking back to the first gentleman who laughed at you when you walked into the room.
I'm gonna have to give you some names. You're gonna be like,
I want to know who, but I mean, like, what was he doing there? I don't understand the point of that. To me, that seems like a weak move on his part.
He might have been forced to.
Hmm.
Because if the guy that's getting you a contract that's helping you make 30% more revenue this year because of how he lined it up is telling you that he wants you to meet this guy, and you're like, no, I don't want to, and he's asked you several times, you're at some point you're going to do the meeting because you don't want to hurt his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's such a huge step up for a sponsor to put me in a room with somebody like that,
Mm-hmm.
that honestly doesn't even want to spend the time with me, and they're making it happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's a cost to getting into that space, which is why I have to say I really do appreciate the sponsors and the effort they put in, because there's risk. There's risk for them too to put you there.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it's a sore subject for me.
Only because the guys laughed.
I'll get
You're
over
the one
it.
that said you wanted the story.
I'll watch
Should have waited later for the story.
I'll watch this back and I'll get over it.
That's fine.
It's been a long day.
Or you'll be more mad.
Woke
and
up
add some
last
more
time.
time. You'll be like, update to the last chat. I've located the 2 doctors that laughed. Here are their addresses. I don't even know. I don't remember their names anymore.
Good. Yeah, right.
I don't.
Trevor's like, I'm not telling him.
I met a lot of doctors. You just move on. So just some more of these phrases that I really liked. One of them said, class is not wealth. It's fluency in the rules. And I think a lot of people do that. They look at the classes and they go, it's a money level. It's a money level. But it's not. It's what are the rules for that class? Like, how do they like to carry themselves? What's acceptable norms of conversation? What's the vocabulary that they use? I don't know. You're going to a certain sporting event. What's the proper way to act when somebody scores a touchdown? Like, you could be in a regular section and spilling your beer over everyone and giving everyone a high five is good. And you get in a certain section and that happens, and literally The people that paid to be there will just leave.
Yeah.
They just don't want to be around that. Now you can say, oh, they're snotty, but really what it is they paid to have a certain experience a certain way. And as soon as you take that away from them, they just don't want to be in the space anymore.
Sure.
So you could call it snotty. I'm just going to say that they have norms, and it's knowing what those are.
Yeah.
Class isn't the money. It's knowing the rules.
Of course. I understand. Like you said earlier in this conversation, you could have easily just said, I don't want to work in those rooms, tried to work with the people you knew, and built whatever business you built. But you wanted to get in those rooms because you knew the business would be there. And you don't hear stories of average people, CPAs, whatever other trade, whatever business they're in, but you hear about it in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
You hear about like, why did he left Hollywood? The star left Hollywood, couldn't take it anymore. And it's probably something similar to that.
Yeah.
And you see it, dictated in movies.
The next part I wanted to get into was just touching on another book reference that I like. There's a book called The Anatomy of Peace, and it really has to do with conflicts. It can be relationships or otherwise. But there's a concept it talks about of being in the box, or if you're seeing somebody, whether in the box or out of the box. And we'll say that in the box is if you're conflicted or you're having an issue with them, and out of the box is if you don't so much. So I just want to go over some of the concepts of that. In the box, you see people as objects. We're defensive against them, and they call it hard at war or conflicted. So like I'm like you and the doctors that laughed at me. They're in the box to you right now.
Yeah.
100% in the box. So out of the box, we see people with hopes, fears, and needs. We take responsibility for our roles, and the heart is at peace. So when they say that you're conflicted with somebody or someone's in a box, the way that you get them out of the box is by trying to see them as a human. Like, what are their needs? What are their anxieties? What's causing them to act this way? So I can look at that doctor and immediately say, screw this guy, and now I just lost my opportunity. Or I can look at the doctor and say, hey, he probably was in this room because the other guy made him. He didn't even want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky to get to be in the room. He's seen me and met me for the first time. And maybe in the second or third rotation, he hears my name. I might actually pick him up as a client. I can look at him and say, why did he act that way? I can see it as human nature. I'm not going to judge him for it. And now my heart can be at peace, and I can let that go and move on to the other thing. I think the two concepts, the one from this book and the one we were talking about with the classes, really goes together, because you can't look at the class you're trying to get into and you want to learn the rules and be bitter about them. So if you're putting them in the box, then what you really need to do is try to humanize them. Why is this person acting this way? What makes them like that? And if they're really just trying to, let's say a wealthy person is just in a venue. I like the sporting event. They just want to go and be comfortable. They want to relax. They don't want to have to say, hey, buddy, we don't do that here. Like, they don't want to have to educate somebody on the space. They just want to relax there, and that's what they're going for. If that's disruptive, they leave. There might be other times where they'll come and somebody's doing that and be like, hey, we don't do that. And they'll educate you. And maybe they'll be a mentor all of a sudden. They're teaching you the way. But if you can see them as a person that really is just trying to enjoy the space, they're not actually being snotty about it. What they have is a set of rules that they think are normal with everyone they're around, and someone comes in that's disruptive to that. Is that bad? No. But in most cases, if you knew the rules or you knew what was normal for them, most of us want to fit in, or we wouldn't want to be offensive. We'd at least try to follow the basic ones. Nothing that's outside of your basic ethics. But there's nothing in this cultural knowledge of the rules or the vocab. There's nothing in there that's going to be ethically wild. It's really just some basic what's normal. And if you know what those are, you can fit in.
I hear what you're saying.
So that's
my immediate thought.
I want to
I'm
hear
gonna chime
it.
in.
This is what we all came to. Give it to us, Chance.
No, my immediate thought is, it seems like you said, after you met these people, they are just, everyone's basically the same. But I think people have, just like in jiu-jitsu, when a new person shows up to the club, especially if they're a higher ranked, right? There's going to be
especially if they're higher ranked.
There's going to be a barrier of entry, right? Like, you have to prove yourself.
I don't know where there's not. Like, when you're saying this, I'm like, this has got to be every jiu-jitsu.
So it's every class, whether it's, everyone has it. Everyone's group has some sort of barrier to entry, introductory period. Then you find out, it's like, oh shit, you guys are drinking beers and being funny and saying silly shit.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, no, but they didn't want to show you yet or let you do it with them until after, they're like, okay.
They're building up that trust in seeing the reaction. And you used a perfect example. Everyone has their own social circles. Take the other social circles you're in. Think about it. It could be a church group. It could be a sports group, whatever it is. You have rules for your group. And if somebody comes in and not following it, it's awkward to you guys.
Yeah.
It's no different than these other people in the other classes.
Yeah.
But if we can see them as people like that and learn how we can adapt, being able to climb and get in these spaces to build better business or get these better contacts, there is a way to do it. And we just have to have that understanding that it works that way, and we'll have greater success trying.
No, it does. It does. And it's everywhere, you know. Let's since this is the Midlife Fight Club and, you know, we do have a background in martial arts, we can continue to use that. But it's the same exact way. You can entirely suck when you come into the gym and people will treat you one way. But then guess what? You keep showing up. And in a few years, you end up maybe beating that person up. And it's all of a sudden the tables have turned.
Dude, that's like the best story ever.
Yeah.
It needs to be that.
So if you ever start your firm again, you need to find that doctor and you need to earn his business. That will be the greatest story.
I never picked him up, but because I worked on so many other doctors in that group, and honestly, there was a lot of failures till I figured it out. Probably 2 or 3 different groups before I actually landed one. And then that got me into more, and that let me meet the other doctor. And now it wasn't just one guy telling me, but it was that guy and the other doctor saying, no, this guy's good. And that would give me an opportunity. Then it built. I've worked on so many other doctors. I'm pretty sure those other guys heard my name again later. But at that point, they're not going to switch. They're not going to chase me down. I'm not going to chase them down. There is a part to me in justice in the fact that I felt like I probably could have saved them some money, and they lost out on that opportunity because I didn't get the chance in the moment. And that's, I don't know, a piece of karma that happens. But I don't go back and chase it. If it happened, it happened. If it didn't, and honestly, he laughed at me. He had a choice.
Well, I think about the karma that happened to him probably.
Yeah.
He probably was so close with his previous really well-dressed CPA. He
Probably
invited him out on family vacation, and they had a dinner, and then the CPA was like, oh, I'm on vacation. I don't need to dress up. This guy likes me for who I am. And he came wearing the same exact suit.
This story is cool. And the guy was like, no.
That's what happened.
That's going to be the story until I know otherwise.
Yeah, it is the story.